Okay, thanks everyone for joining. This is our second bonfire and the first one of 2026. In the first bonfire that we did in late November, we had Stephen join us, who's from the development team for Nexa and BU, and also Francis and myself. And we just went through what Bon is, the Build on Nexa repository and onboarding journey for developers in our ecosystem and project owners and creators. And we're working on a number of different initiatives, resources, guides to continue filling out Bon and give as many resources and support as possible to our ecosystem developers. And we are seeing more and more projects pop up, which is great. We have quite a good spread across a number of different use cases as well, such as we've got some gaming, of course, we've got the Nebula Decks coming. There's point of sale. There's a bunch of different projects popping up. So it's great to see that growth. And the point of these bonfires is to just bring the ecosystem community together and also a forum for you to ask questions of the team. And if you need any support with something or you want to workshop something specifically, this is a good forum to do so as well. And we will try to sort of pick a theme or a topic for each bonfire to work around. And of course, we have Andrew Stone here today, who's going to go through making multi-platform apps on Nexa, which is a really great topic. And we'll go through a couple of quick updates and then I'll hand it over to you, Andrew. So we do have an announcement for the ecosystem, which is great and very exciting. We have secured our first ecosystem partnership for 2026. This is with the All Things Blockchain and Evolve Her community. So you'll see this announcement come up on socials in the next 24 hours. But basically, the All Things Blockchain and Evolve Her community are based in the APAC region, and they'll be supporting our ecosystem initiatives in 2026. Specifically, they'll be supporting us with creating a learn to earn track, which is really exciting. This is going to allow us to create a very structured and incentivized onboarding journey for new builders coming into Nexa's ecosystem. So they'll be supporting us with creating various educational modules and learning materials and onboarding pathways to essentially support new builders and users coming into our ecosystem. So this is a really great partnership for us. It's a strategic one, and we're looking forward to sharing more info on that soon as well. And in our next bonfire, which will happen in March, we will also be joined by the Evolve Her team and Danielle. So they'll join and be able to talk about some of the exciting things that we'll be working on with that partnership specifically. So yes, that's really great. We're excited about that one. Part of that partnership as well is that Nexa will be supporting the Women in Web3 initiative with Evolve Her, which is an educational mentorship program as well designed to onboard more technical and creative women into Web3 and crypto as well. So this is all part of the partnership, and we're excited. This is also a localized or a regional strategy. It's part of our 2026 ecosystem regional activation. So this is obviously for the APAC region specifically, but all the materials will be available globally, and there'll be more details shared about that learning track and what it all means for our builders over the next couple of weeks as well. So I wanted to start off with some good news. And Andrew, how are we going with sound over there?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I had to hop off and hop back on again because my Firefox was just hanging, and then it would come back, and then it hanging, and then back. Anyway, so I closed it all up, started over.
Perfect. No worries. Okay, well, we can hear you perfectly well. So I'll hand it over to you now. And like I said, for everyone listening, if you have any questions about the topic Andrew is going to talk about or anything else, feel free to drop it into the comment section here, and we'll do our best to get around to everybody as well. But yeah, Andrew, I'll pass it over to you.
Okay. So I've been, I thought there was going to be a little bit of a Q&A beforehand based on the list, but I'll just jump right in. We've been working on some application level stuff. If you look at where cryptocurrency is today, right? It's perhaps the hype goes through a variety of phases, And at this point, I think that previously I kind of always thought this, that the amount of these different hype trains are not sustainable. And I'm talking about hype like scalability, right? So at this point, there's lots of blockchains that scale. And so, no one is going to invest in a cryptocurrency based on that. They're just simply not going to invest in a cryptocurrency that doesn't scale, of course, right? Um, so the bar has moved. But ultimately, what is left is, hey, let's actually use this cryptocurrency the way it was envisioned to be used as an alternate payment system. Um, and I do think that in the Bitcoin days, um, people made the mistake to some degree of, of course, we didn't know it was a mistake until it was made. And that was leveraging the existing payments system, fiat payment system, to also let you pay in Bitcoin or in cryptocurrency. And why is this a mistake? Well, obviously it's not a mistake because a lot of people can easily do that, right? But it is a mistake because um, fiat is optimized for that system. And so you're left with all of the problems of that system. And also, you have to go to an exchange and acquire cryptocurrency and um, do all those issues, right? And then once you do that, you're hit with a conversion fee and then typical, um, payment processor fee. And so why bother, right? And this is why Bitcoin rapidly pivoted to the store of value narrative. But, you know, what we need to do with cryptocurrency now is put a wallet on everybody's phone. And once the wallet is there, then certain advantages of using cryptocurrency will shine, right? Advantages of small payments, of low fees, of confidence of cash, as in if you have the money in your wallet, then you can spend it. It's not like you're sitting there, running your card and praying to God that like you haven't exceeded your balance or that the person doesn't see this as, the other side doesn't see this as a suspicious transaction, or, oh gosh, you flew to a separate country and you wonder if your card will even work. I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but I've literally gone to a restaurant in a foreign country and been like, okay, I'm going to order and I want you just to charge my card before you even make the food, right? I'm going to trust you because I don't know if this card is going to work here, right? Um, that's about confidence in having cash. Um, and of course, you've got the money in your wallet, then you have confidence that it'll work. So these are the sort of things that I've always thought that we need to focusing on a longer game. Um, and so focusing on tools to create these sort of applications um, is important, right? We need to. A lot of other cryptos, I think they make the mistake of they kind of produce the base system and then they just stop. Um, or they might produce a couple of tools, like but they kind of stop with Bond and these other initiatives. We're trying to push through that, right? Just to continue. Um, Obviously, we invite anyone to jump in and make apps if they want to, but if other people don't, then we're going to. We're going to use our own tools, right? Just keep on going. Why not? I mean, I built this cryptocurrency so that I could make fun things with it, not just to sit there and like, okay, if we build it, then someone will probably use it. So anyway, we've created a um, Kotlin-based toolkit for using Nexa, and we've, in short, the advantages of Kotlin are that it's a modern carefully designed language. It is highly multi-platform, but simultaneously it lets you access the native layers of different architectures. So if there's a feature that doesn't exist in sort of a multi-platform land, you can declare like a what's called an expect function, which you say, I expect that this function will exist on multiple platforms. And then later you say, okay, here's the actual function on the iOS platform. And typically it might be something like playing a esoteric video format or something like that. That's one that we ran into with Wally Wallet anyway, is that there was no multi-platform library to play all the different video formats that the different phones could play. So we dropped into the actual platform level video players. Anyway, this is kind of hard because I'm not getting any feedback. Denise,
I was going to
is there
jump
like a
in
chat?
and
Yeah.
yeah, there is a chat. If you look for the little chat button, and I was just going to as well jump in and speak to your point about using the technology that the team is developing, because it's obviously incredible technology, and I think this does come back to what the original purpose was for Bitcoin when Satoshi released the white paper, which was peer-to-peer version of electronic cash that would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another, and then obviously in Nexa's white paper we've stated that our mission is to push Satoshi's technology forward in a dramatic manner. And I totally agree with you that scalability is definitely an overused term in marketing and in blockchain and crypto. So it's really demonstrating what the technology can do that we're building. And I wanted to ask you, I know that you've been extremely busy and there's a lot of things that we're working towards. Is there something that you're really excited about at the moment that's being developed and worked on with Nexa, or something that you've been working on that you feel is really, really cool and interesting to our ecosystem? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm here to show some little toys that we've created. And the purpose of this is not that they're fun, right? But I'm not saying that this is going to revolutionize the world or anything. But the point is that these toys are built on top of this infrastructure that lets you really easily use Nixa. And in particular, we spent 90% of our time making the toys and 5 to 10% of the time actually integrating with Nexa, right? And so the first is smiley.nexa.art. I'll type it in the chat. Watch everyone go there and then it crash, right? And so
That's
basically,
okay.
this is like, and you guys should know that this is the first time these node has gotten any load whatsoever. It's just been us whacking on it. So what that is actually a little faucet. And so if you hop on over there, there's going to be a bit of a pause because it uses WASM. The Kotlin web app platform is the last one that it produced. So it's still, I think it's in beta right now, but there's a huge advantage in that these programs run literally on iOS or Android or desktop, like without any modifications. But anyway, you connect your wallet, and then you click the little smiley face, and it writes funny little things at you. And then if you click enough times, it gives you like a Nexa reward automatically through your phone, right? So it's really easy to sort of sign up for this, right? That's the idea here, is it shows how easy it is to give someone a sign up or reward. And then I think once in a blue moon, maybe 1% of the time, you'll actually get a little smiley NFT. So cute, right? And really what we did is I had a, Sasha, who's a photographer, marketing guy, he does our shows and things. He actually wrote this code using an AI, okay? And then I grabbed the code and kind of just, and it's all just in one giant main function because it's an AI and it's terrible at coding. And I just kind of pasted it into this, starter.nexa application that we have, and then connect it up the wallet, and we're good to go, right? I was trying to demonstrate that this is very easy. Anyway, so you guys can pop over there. And then, how does composability on Nexa work in a trustless environment? Here, question. How will apps compose transact with each other? Um, wow, so that is that's a very insightful question. Um, so I think so. There's this protocol that I've developed called the Trusted Delegated Payment Protocol, and what it basically is how in this smiley.nexa.org the application here is talking to Wally Wallet, right? And so the first way that this happens is that it's not trustless; it's trust within limits. Okay, and so if you can have an app basically register with your wallet. And in this case, we're much better than Ethereum because you see, in Ethereum, if you accept a connection like this, right, then the application can do whatever it wants and steal like all the funds in your wallet. It's called the blind signing problem. You guys can look it up. Next's architecture doesn't have the blind signing problem. And so what will happen is you can specify certain limits like don't let this app pull more than so many Nexa per day, or maybe even always ask me for authorization before you let this app pull any Nexa, right? And so this is like also, even though this is sort of a pipe dream, it's a real solution to what I call the gym membership problem. That is notorious in the US. I don't know if it is everywhere else. And that is once you sign up for a gym membership, it's really, really hard to cancel, right? And the reason why is because most gyms survive by their members, their ghost members, right? 90% of the members don't actually go, and they leave their membership on for a year before they manage to cancel it. And the reason why this is the case is because the power, like in the traditional fiat system, power is in the hands. You give an entity permission to pull from your bank account, then you have to ask really nicely that entity to stop pulling from your bank account, right? Um, or to charge your credit card. And this is the exact opposite of the way it should be, which is I allow a organization to pull from Wally Wallet, say, um, and then, by the way, I can just pop up my wallet and turn that organization off, right? I remain in control of when the organization can pull from my money. Of course, you can see how in this fiat system, um, the whole thing was designed to disadvantage the consumer and advantage the merchants, right? Um, the consumer is the prey, right? And the merchants are to some degree the predators who go and try and hook you into these monthly deals that you end up not using and forgetting about. So that's one issue of composability. Um, at the uh, Now at a very low and technical level, Wade, I'm not sure how technical you are. We have this technology called partial transactions, and while they're possible in forked, or I should say, technical children of Bitcoin, we have made some hard fork changes that massively increase our flexibility in partial transactions. And what partial transactions are is they're signed transactions that don't balance. So I might input some token and I might output some Nexa, um, and then I sign that partial transaction, right? It's not valid on the Nexa network, but it's signed, right? And the reason why it's not valid is because it doesn't balance, right? And then someone else can jump in there or another app, right? This could be app to app applications. And the other entity inputs the missing Nexa and outputs the tokens, right? and then they sign it. And if the transaction balances, then you're good, right? And so by allowing transactions to be built up iteratively like this, we actually allow applications to interact across the medium of these partial transactions. And of course, you can create smart contracts just like you can in Ethereum, with caveats because we need to support that blind. We need to prevent the blind signing issue, so we're a bit more careful about our contracts. But I'm talking about this additional feature, and what's interesting about it is that all of this activity of those transactions actually happens off-chain, so it's much more scalable, right? And these partial transactions, being sent back and forth and slowly built up until they're completed, and then they can be sent. And of course, you can sort of do that with any other cryptocurrency, except that in the end, all the participants need to sign the transaction, right? But with the partial transaction technology, that's not the case. You can create a signed partial transaction, and so then your involvement in the process is done. And this is the technology that underlies Nexa DEX as well. It's what we call an open outcry system. And when I make an offer in the DEX, I can't withdraw it because I've signed a partial transaction.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's really interesting. Thanks for sharing that.
Sorry to
I had a
go a little
question.
maybe into too much
No, that's
detail,
okay.
but it's a really interesting topic. Yes, go on. Yes.
No, I think people were finding it interesting. And I wanted to sort of lead into another question based on you're talking about different features and ways that Nexa is addressing some of those friction points, especially for payments. So I wanted to ask you, just sort of generally speaking about the crypto industry, why do you think payments are still one of the hardest problems in crypto, even 15 years or so now after Bitcoin launched? And if you had to summarize it, how would you say Nexa is solving that
Yeah.
friction?
So, right. So, in the telecom world, we call this the last mile problem. And that is that we need people to have cryptocurrency wallets before merchants want to support cryptocurrency, right? And the same thing in the telecom is that it's really easy to bring fiber to like the center of the town, but it's really hard then to wire fiber up to every single house, right? So, we are putting significant amounts of effort into wallet um, wallet functionality and trying to make the experience really clean. And I know that like it's stuff that you won't even notice because it just works like it's supposed to, but it's like stuff like if you have an app on uh, your computer, you can scan a QR code. But if you bring that same app up on your phone, then there's going to be a button. And if you click the button, like it just pops over to Wally Wallet, right? And then you click accept the connection or accept the payment, then it should pop back to the app, right? And this is actually this sort of interactive stuff. It's hard. It's different for every single platform. And iOS, there's no clean way to do it even, so we have to do some hacks there that's still ongoing. The idea is to make this really smooth and to get a wallet, an Nexa wallet, on everybody's phone, even if it's just for silly reasons. So, for example, we're currently working on a little game, and it's another example, and it's called Bacteria. And what's going to happen is when your kid, it's a kid's game, when your kid gets to a certain level, then it'll be like, oh, you want to save the level so that your kid um, can resume from here, right, or play these different levels. And how do you do that? Well, we'll give you an NFT, right? So you see, we're just trying to get wallets on people's phones, right? For any use at all. And there's a synergy there. If we can, obviously, if we, strike a viral app, then all of a sudden, and we're of course going to try, but that's a long shot, right? But another way to do it is to get, a 0.5% of users here, 50,000 there, 25,000 here. So to create a bunch of weird little apps. And then just to kind of go to the next thing I wanted to show, another example is what I call maze. You're gonna see probably a lot of these, especially post hard fork, which is gonna take a lot of our time. But maze craze.nexa.art. Okay, so I grabbed a defunct maze generation. Maze generation like piece of software, and I turned it into an app. So if you go and you look for free maze on the internet, right? There's actually little places that will do this because, and why? Well, because you it's like the old what in the world do I do with my kids on a Saturday morning problem, right? And it's like, oh, why don't I go onto the internet and download a coloring page and print it out? Or in this case, let me download a maze, create a maze, download it, and we can solve it together, right? Me and my kid. Okay. So and go in these apps, they go, oh, well, for commercial use, and if you want files, you need to pay, $14.95 for 2 weeks, right, of membership for this. Right. Well, no one wants to pay $14.95 for a maze. So in this case here, once it's like a little bit of a teaser. It shows the maze, right? And then if you haven't connected your Wally wallet, you have to wait 30 seconds before you can see the solution. Okay. And so then connect your Wally wallet, you can see the solutions instantly. And you can certainly screenshot the mazes on screen, but if you want the files, then you have to pay. In this case, I just put it at a penny because the point is not to make money selling mazes, right? But you have to pay a penny, and then it'll give you the maze file. So this is an example of this sort of like e-services that would really benefit from um, small payment. I don't want to say micro, small payment, um, easy integration, right? Who in the world what hacker is gonna make like a cool maze thing and put it up on the internet and then be like, well, now I have to create a company, apply to be join Stripe or whatever, start accepting credit cards. You used to have to go through a credit check to accept credit cards. I don't know if you have to do that anymore. Deal with people, doing credit card rejections and things. No one's going to do that, right? Integration with a cryptocurrency like Nexa takes 5 minutes now to ask for
Yeah, that's great.
money. And in this case, it literally, it's really neat. It's just like I have an API and it's like, ask for money, and then it calls you back when, it's an asynchronous API. And so, the server kind of just sits there, and then, you get a call back when the money's paid, and then you can just, if you're using a React system, for example, you can just, change a reactive variable with with whatever the person paid. You're done. It's literally just like 4 lines of code to accept a payment.
Hmm. Yeah,
So that I
that's
think is
great.
cool and exciting. I don't know if it's going to change the world. How many billions of dollars are in this this micro economy of e-services? Probably not many. I don't really care though, right? What I care about is that tons and tons of people start to use this stuff, and so then we can have people actually selling electronic services amongst each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the demo apps are also important to hopefully inspire some of the ecosystem community members as well. It might give them some ideas of what they could potentially develop and have a go at doing on Nexa too. So I had a question for you. When
Totally.
you're working
And of course,
on these,
someday
like,
one of them might like one of the ones we make. There's a possibility it will become relatively popular, right? We don't know.
yeah,
Just like right now, though, we're mostly doing them for demonstration purposes. But then we might decide, oh, let's refine this. Let's actually try and you know
yeah,
throw out an advertisement on Google and see how many hits we get. Anyway, go on.
yeah, absolutely. So my question was for you, when working on these demo apps, what's your thought process when scoping and developing one, and how do you sort of decide what to include or focus on when designing a demo app? Might help someone in the ecosystem that wants to try something.
Yeah. So the sweet spot of a cryptocurrency is small, um, like just small like snap payments, like impulse purchases, right? Why? Because um, uh, click purchase, enter your credit card number, enter your name, enter this not so secret numbers on the back, enter your expiration date, enter, right? Click accept, right? No, this is a pain in the butt, right? Scan the QR code, click the pay button in Wally, you're done, right? Now, of course, this is an ideal where crypto is already on people's phones, right? And we have to sort of imagine and believe in that case because that's what the goal that we're working for. But to begin with, it's going to be a hard uh, path. So please don't make an app, post it on the internet, and wonder why like thousands of people haven't bought yet, right? So the ideal situation, and this is kind of what we're doing with the bacteria, is like, oh, um, well, I can play the game, without getting the level NFT, but my kid really wants to be able to start for level 2. And so I guess I should download this other app so that I can, remember my levels. Um, and like I don't actually have to pay any money for this, right? It's just NFTs. So I don't have to deal with an exchange yet, right? So, you know, the future, it might be really easy, but right now we're looking for apps that more kind of like allow people to put their big toe in the water, right, without having to jump
Yeah.
in fully.
Yeah. And I think as well, some of the best apps and products services have actually come from that exact line of thought that you were talking about, thinking, what can you do with your kids on a Saturday morning? And so it's often looking at the friction points in your own life and then thinking about ways to solve that. And if you are a developer or you're quite creative or you'd like to have a go at using the resources and the tools that we have with Nexa, then that's a good place to start, is thinking about what we call low hanging fruit in marketing and business strategy. Is, well, where's the low hanging fruit? What's the friction point? And sort of work backwards from there and put together a bit of a plan. And like you said, also be willing to sort of put things out there and test and iterate. It might not always be an overnight success, but if you've got a lot of conviction about what you're building, then keep at it, keep, taking feedback, speaking to your users, asking for support. You never know when you might strike gold, so to speak. So that's very
And this
helpful.
maze thing, I actually grabbed this maze application for a completely different app that I have envisioned, except Nexa. And that's going to be a bigger job. And I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is abandoned. It produces the coolest mazes ever. Like you can produce hexagonal mazes. Like who would have thought, right? So I'm like, and it's abandoned. Let me just throw this up on the internet so that the project sees some light of day, right? Totally. So be flexible and just try stuff out, you know? And
Yeah.
using a cryptocurrency makes it a lot easier to just try something out, you know? And then all I
Yeah.
have to say about that though is, so if you expect that, um, you're gonna. Luckily, these days, like VPSs, I should say, cost like $5 a month, right, to run something like this, um, which is great because if you expect that in a month it's gonna take off, you're wrong, right? Because
Mhm.
cryptocurrency still, even with the major cryptocurrencies, can't get people to install wallets, right? But either
Yeah.
your app is the one that will go viral, and then suddenly, everyone will have wallets or be willing to install wallets just to run your app because it's so cool and fun, or somebody else's will. And once that happens, you will be positioned to catch, everyone who's like, oh well, I downloaded the wallet, I have some Next, and now what do I do with it?
Yeah.
And part of that too is when we show Nexa to different people at conferences and things, that's exactly what we need to help build this out. Is okay, well we've given you, like right now it's like, okay, we've given you $5 of Nexa or $1 of Nexa, and you've installed Wally Wallet, and now what do you do with it? Right now the answer was last year like nothing. You could make NFTs, right? So we're just trying to build out some fun little things that you can do with it. And even if like you personally don't want to do with, create yourself a maze, in your mind when you are using this, you're going to be like, oh, but I could see that other people would want to do that. Right? You
Yeah.
can't hit everything at once.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a question as well in the chat. What are some ways going forward to spur the Wally Wallet app towards the adoption that it deserves?
Yeah, so I just want to make the process of using it incredibly smooth. My main focus on Wally right now is going to be getting the sync to be wicked fast. And I really want to do that in a scalable way, which means reworking this original system that Bitcoin used, and it's highly, highly flawed, to synchronize light client wallets. So that's going to be a bit of an effort. But once that's done, I really think the way is to um, create fun apps and kind of toe in the water apps that people are like, oh, I just got to install this, this crypto. I don't really know anything about cryptocurrency. Isn't a bunch of scammers who use it. But in order to really prove that I've won this game, I really need to install this thing so I can get this NFT. Or in order to continue the game, at this level, I really need to install this thing. So I guess I'll just do it, right? It's just an app. Like who could, what could be the problem? And then, once you've installed it, oh, if I uninstall it, I'm going to lose my spot in this game that I like to play or whatever, so I guess I should, keep it installed, right? We get a lot of installs in during conferences, and then without much to do, we get a lot of uninstalls in the next, up the following week, right?
Yeah, I think that utility is definitely going to increase this year with the things that are being developed on Nexa. And even just since the launch of Bond, and a lot of focus last year went into giving more support to ecosystem projects, we're seeing plenty more start to pop up now. So that's great to see. And it does
Yeah,
take
try
time.
and
It's a
pop stuff
process.
up and leave it up, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
Abedin said, you know, and how could the community and Bond help achieve that? The answer is to, pop up some apps, right? And certainly, guys, if you're thinking of taking your app down, like we can't go and be funding everyone's apps, but if you're thinking of taking your app down and, your maintenance fees are, the $5 a month, then please don't take it down. Just contact us about that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We do have support in place for our ecosystem projects. And one of the things we did put in place last year as well is a process for getting your project officially recognized as well on the Nexa website and in our promotions. And there is a process for that. So you're more than welcome to reach out to myself or even go to Francis and he can direct you internally. We do want to do our best to support. And there will be a number of initiatives this year as well that ecosystem projects can get involved with as well. Obviously, at the end of the day, the
Yeah.
more people building on Nexa and utilizing it is great for the overall network and the project. So we're here to support in every way that we can.
Okay. Will Wally Wallet use the same account model? I think it means as Otaplo one day. If not, why? And are you not afraid that it creates fragmentation in the Nexa ecosystems? So I am actually very afraid of fragmentation. So you can actually ask Wally Wallet for the address if you want. Okay. Like you as an application over, TDTP. However, problem with that approach is that well, there's two problems with it. One is so anyone can see can easily sort of connect your payments, so they can start seeing like I mean the worst case that always has shown up is that in the Bitcoin days is if everything is going to one account, then people can just figure out what your salary is, right? Oh, for example, oh, let me pay half of this bill, right? The lunch bill, right? Your coworker, right? And then, oh, what's your Bitcoin address? So then he sends you $15 in that Bitcoin address. Well, there's a monthly deposit into that address of, or twice a month deposit of a certain amount. Well, then the person knows the salary, and then very next day, right, the person is in the manager's office saying, why in the world is Alice getting, 15% more than I am, right? So, the account model issues, especially if you're like on the service provider side, like if you're like you might accept that. Um, but with Wally too, if you create separate accounts, the separate lines in Wally, then those payments will never, like money that went into, your first account line. I'm using account here in a different way, right, versus address. So really, Otaplo and Nexa are, I wouldn't say the account model, I would say the same address model, right? But with multiple accounts in Wally, which is two separate lines, each account still has multiple addresses, but also if you go to make a payment, Wally will never like pick money out of two different accounts to make that same payment. So you have this very good isolation. And then there's another problem, of course, with the Otaplo architecture, and that is it it's relying on this database. So a cryptocurrency is a database, but we have these things called um, like I don't know, blockchain browsers, right? Explorers, and they synthesize all the data in the blockchain, right? Um, and the problem with that is that it doesn't really scale that well. And so my goal with Wally is to make sure that it will scale. And of course, another problem is uh, what if someone takes down that backend database? And the answer with Otaplo, of course, is well, you can run one yourself, and we have made good steps in that. When you download the Nexa full node, you get one of those, an instance of that database, right? And we kind of run it by default. If you're on Linux and all this, these other qualifications, like you got to be on Linux, you got to have exposed your IP address and blah, 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 right? But still, like in the worst case, if these backend databases were to go down, but I still don't like the fact that that's how people are going to start seeking rent from you, right? Like I always want your wallet to be free, and it's not going to be free ultimately if the wallet provider needs to run a giant database to support you. And of course, as Bitcoin Unlimited Nexa, we're going to run that database, right? Still, like 20, 30 years from now, with the light client approach, you just pop up Wally Wallet and it's going to connect to whatever anyone's running anywhere. No need to run this sort of third-party database that's correlating and collating and tracking your account. So that's kind of like my concern with that architecture. It's more of a long-term concern, but I like to solve
Yeah.
problems correctly. And a lot of the cryptocurrencies these days, they are taking these dramatic shortcuts, you know, far beyond even what Otaplo has taken. And that's why, for example, when Cloudflare went down, people were joking about how cryptocurrencies all over the world went down. They didn't really go down. It was these databases running on top of them, right? And a lot of people, they claim scalability, but really the only reason why they scale is because they have these synthesis databases, which don't really scale. So I'm trying to avoid that.
Yeah. I think it does depend on what you want as well, and it comes down to the user preferences. And, I know a lot of updates have been done in Otoplo over the last year as well. So, whether it's Wally or Otoplo that you choose is really a user preference. But if you're specifically talking about ecosystem development, then that's what Bon is for as well. It sort of outlines the different ways that you might implement something or how you might develop something. And our team is always here as well to support and help you make choices that are right for your project depending what you want to do as well. So yeah.
And we're deliberately like supporting Otaplo as like hey, I just want to grab some Nexa into my one account and kind of save it, And I don't really understand cryptocurrency that much. Can I just have a wallet and deposit some coin there and hold it? So one account, one address, yay, right? Savings, great, easy.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, cool. We usually run these for about 45 minutes. And I think that if no one else has any questions, I can see Dharma typing. I'd just like to give everyone a moment to ask their last questions. And also, if anyone has any other input, I see Runner is in here as well. That's great. Hi, Runner. I can also see all.
Hey, what's
Hi,
up?
Runner.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Hey. Yeah, do you have a question to me, Denise?
Not specifically. I just wanted to say hi. I know we were just talking about a Toplo as well. Don't know if you want to add anything.
I think
And
she
yes,
just
if
wanted to
anyone
say
else has any other
developers are in
questions.
the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear it. They talk about Toploid. So, yeah, we relying on the blockchain database, like Andrew said, the Rostrum, which is kind of Electrum service. So, if someone here knows Bitcoin and the Electrum servers. So yeah, this is true. Toplo is running a Rostrum instance on some server, and of course, if it goes down, then the wallet kind of not showing anything. But the goal is that Nexa network will have public Rostrum server, and anyone can just log into, just can edit the settings and set any Rostrum server he wants to choose. There is one for the Explorer he can use. There is one he can deploy on his machine or on his cloud service. And
Absolutely.
this is
And we ship.
basically,
Yeah, and it's important to note it's not some weird project off in the corner, right? We ship a copy of Rostrum with every single full node. So
yes,
we're making it as easy as possible to run this thing. So no one
yeah,
really needs to be worried about it. And guys, Runner is working on a major Otaplo kind of rework, putting it on React Native, which is going to be a more powerful, more performative platform. So I think good things are going to happen to Otaplo.
yeah. This is kind of spoiler.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's exciting
That's
though.
okay.
But I'm kind of excited to see that.
It's going to use native elements for mobiles because currently it's interesting. The people here are totally using WebView. It's not using the native elements except for the native plugins like um, connecting with the camera for scanning QR codes or biometric authentication for Face ID. But the rest of the elements are not native elements, so I kind of reached the limit of what I can do with the top. If I want to explore new features for the wallet, I'm kind of limited. So I wanted to move it to React Native to use the native element of Android and iOS, so I can just improve it over the years, not to be stuck on the same it's kind of web browser inside the application that show the application. And this is, like Andrew said, it doesn't scale. I cannot include many native features inside the wallet.
Yeah.
So
that's
this is a
yeah. Hey, Dama had observation, which I think everyone probably has read it. I want to summarize, but anyway, he's saying, hey, the lengthy process to make a payment and stop using the wallet. So Dama, let me show you, or go to Maze Craze and buy a maze. It'll cost you like a tenth of a penny or 1 penny or something. Tell me what you think. Obviously, integrating with something like PI is probably like, if you're saying you want to integrate with that, again, that's a fiat, um, payment architecture, which is going to have some serious gatekeepers who, traditionally I haven't obviously talked to the UPI people, but they typically don't want cryptocurrency involved, right? This is what we've seen in credit card processors for Visa, MasterCard. No, thank you, right? It's become in the US. and unbelievable torture, finally, a huge company like PayPal has beginnings of a cryptocurrency integration. I still don't know if so what you can do is you can upload some cryptocurrency to PayPal and they're holding it on your behalf, okay? So you're trusting them to hold your crypto, all right? So it's not like it's coming out of your wallet, but so that's problem number one, but okay. But then also I still don't think it just automatically sells the crypto and, converts it to dollars and then pays the merchant. I still think you need to go to your PayPal and click the sell button. And so the integration still remains a little bit awkward, even though it's kind of cool and it's like at least it's happening, right? It's happening. Everyone can raise their hands and get excited that you can pay crypto with PayPal, but for some reason, there's constant reluctance to integrate crypto with the actual legacy fiat systems. So I want to make Nexa incredibly easy to pay, but the truth is, the reality is that merchant is going to have to put up a Nexa QR code right now because we're not going to go through the years of I don't know if you guys have ever worked in something like this, but you're in I was part of uh, customer the cycle of trying to inject some technology into cable networks, for example. So dedicated people need to spend multiple years just basically getting on airplanes and visiting the cable providers over and over and over again, right? For what purpose? You know, just to sort of massage the process through, right? We certainly don't have the desire nor the budget to do something like that. I'm guessing the fiat payment system, similar type, dedicated sales personnel just keep on massaging these reluctant um, systems to acceptance. Other
Yeah,
question?
awesome. I can't see any more questions in here. I think that's good for now. But of course, our Discord is always being monitored by the team. And if anyone had any follow-up questions to today, we're more than happy to answer those as well and respond in Discord. And Francis has also recorded this session too. So we're looking forward to repurposing some of it and obviously sharing with the community. So I'll just give everyone a moment in case there were any other questions. Will we see a Nexa phone?
Nope. No reason to make a phone when you can make an app, right, on top of the phone.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be quite a big task and product to do.
I think those people who have done that have gotten burned horribly. It just doesn't make sense, right? Their phone comes out of the gate and it's bulky and awkward compared to the latest out of Samsung and Apple and Google, right? Because the reality is that I've heard is they're already designing the phones 2 or 3 generations out. They've got a phone pipeline going on, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, jumping in and making your own phone doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Dharma had a second part of that question as well. Will we have a fiat-backed INR coin? I think that's for India. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
I mean, with the stability of the blockchain, we are starting to investigate, as I'm saying, these apps and these use cases. And we are considering these different things. We need legal infrastructure to cover that and so forth. Of course, any Joe can create. By the way, anyone who wants to create a fiat-backed INR, you can literally just drop some money in a bank account, right? Create a token. It's a couple of commands to the Nexa full node, And then you could say, hey, here's my INR that's backed by this bank account. Maybe go for it. There might be some legal issues in your jurisdiction that you want to, understand before you do that. And also, of course, who's going to trust you and all this stuff. See, so there's a lot of, from a technical perspective, the job is incredibly easy, but there's a lot of what I would call soft requirements that make that job a lot harder, right? And so working the soft requirements is to some degree, I don't know if it's a harder job, but it certainly is not one that can be well timed, right? You can't put a schedule to that. It's not like, oh, I'm writing a couple hundred lines of code per day, so this is going to be done in a few. It's more like God knows, like I need to spend all this money to even get a lawyer's opinion on whether this is legal in my jurisdiction, and and
Yes.
they might say no, right? Now, having said that, I'll say we in fact are talking to lawyers about some initiatives along those lines. So, we're not clueless about how cool it would be to have more stable coins. And of course, there's the NUSD that's out there right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something we're looking into, but these things also take time. And I think the regulatory landscape is also fast evolving at the moment. So it's also sort of important to see how things play out and how it may affect different regions. But we'll take the suggestion, Dharma. Thanks for popping that in there. And also I'm getting hold, any creative program hackathon coming. Yes, I think you may have just missed my update at the start when you joined, but we do have a newly confirmed ecosystem partnership, which is going to be announced on socials in the next 24 hours with All Things Blockchain and Evolve Her. So they are one of the leading non-for-profit organizations in the APAC region. And they're an education platform for crypto projects communities, very, very grassroots community growth. They've also partnered with, a number of large exchanges and businesses in the industry. So they'll be working with us this year to support building a new learn to earn track for our ecosystem, which is going to be really exciting for all the builders. But also this is really important groundwork to be done as well before we can host the hackathon. So all of the infrastructure for the hackathon that we're hoping to hold in 2027 is being laid this year. So all that groundwork is being done, and this partnership is quite instrumental to that. So yes, it's all in the works, and you'll see all of those announcements basically be released in the next 24 hours. We wanted to sort of share it here first with everyone that's joined. And yeah, excited to share a bit more about what it all means for our community. And in the next bonfire in March, the Evolve Her team will join as well. So we'll have a chance to introduce them to everyone and talk a bit more about what we're going to be doing together this year. So yes, some exciting things are definitely in the pipeline. Andrew Stone, yes.
Typically, yeah, I was just going to say, okay, I haven't researched this, but I can't recall a hackathon that's created an awesome app, right? But of course, I can recall in terms of the open source hardware movement, how that movement itself created some amazing things. 3D goggles being one of the most common ones, and also the smart watches, right? Are two that were originally created by open source hardware movements. So the thing about a hackathon is really a showcase of an existing architecture that people can use to make stuff on your stuff. So we need to get that done completely solidly before we have the hackathon, right? It shouldn't be something that we're exploring. And that's where, this smile.nexa.art and Maze Trays are examples of, hey, the infrastructure for application level development is starting to come into play. And of course, there's also the same, that was all in Kotlin, but there's the same in the JavaScript realm as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we're encouraging people to get in and use Bond, because that'll also be part of the framework that will support the hackathon when we do launch it. And, also from just a logistics standpoint, we want it to be valuable and a very meaningful representation of the tech as well on display. There will be criteria for the entrance, and there'll be, a program to also support and sustain people that do the hackathon. What we don't want to happen is host a hackathon and we have all of this buzz and excitement, and then people exit the ecosystem as soon as it's over. So we really want to actually create.
That's what I'm saying. Really,
yeah.
the benefit of the hackathon is this. It's very rarely the projects that are created. It's in fact the showcase of the infrastructure that we've created to support these projects. Very rarely ever see a hackathon thing that actually creates an application that stands the test of time, because who can do that in a weekend, right? But you end up getting fun and cute stuff. Like at best you go viral briefly, like I think the one famous one in Bitcoin that I sort of remember, it was like feed my cat or feed my goldfish, I think it was. Cute, but it's gone now because people only want to feed the goldfish for a month or two.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. And there's been a lot of focus on putting in place that infrastructure in the last year as well. And so this year is laying the groundwork for that. And no, the dev team is definitely busy. You have no shortage of things to do, right, Andrew?
Yeah. That's why I haven't
very
been
busy
on socials that much. I've been writing a lot of code, all this stuff.
Yeah.
As well as everybody
Absolutely.
else.
Yeah.
All right.
For sure. Okay. Well, I think we can wrap it there, and just wanted to thank you for your time. Go for it. Go.
Small thing. If there are developers that want to, I don't know, build AI application and working with AI and integrated with Nexa blockchain, we're currently working on. I tried some POC of MCP server that analyzing stuff from the Nexa blockchain with AI chatbots or agents that can be integrated together. So if there are people that want to build stuff with AI, soon it will be even more easier because I'm going to publish few tools that make integration with AI easier to understand Nexa blockchain because AI doesn't have the context. So when it will have it, then it can work with. We can extend it to auto payment and generating transactions through AI agents and stuff like that. So this is also maybe will be relevant for the Bon and the next hackathon. I don't know if people want to integrate AI and Nexa.
No, it's definitely a good point, and we have had community members asking about AI as well. So I think that those resources will definitely be very helpful. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yep.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for your time, especially you, Andrew, as well. And thank you, Francis, for moderating and handling the recording. Did you have any last comments you wanted to say, Francis?
No, just thank you for the community to join today. It was really nice. And thank you, Andrew, Janice, for making this happen. So the recording will be available. So we'll share that with the community. Thank you.
Beautiful. Okay, great. Well, I hope everyone has a great evening, night, morning, day, wherever you are in the world. And stay tuned. We'll keep up to date with our forum and our social channels and community channels as well for the latest news. And we appreciate everyone showing up today. Thanks, Andrew.